In 1977, good luck. Let's open with knight f3 as per usual. Okay. How many games? 674. That's an invitation to play Sicilian. Should we do that? I'm not really an e4 player. No, let's play an English one. It's really c5 as an invitation to play e4 and play Sicilian, so. But I'm not an e4 player, apart from like occasional variety, so just vary it a bit. We'll just get castled, worry about what to do. So we can do b3, bishop on the diagonal. I like the look of that, actually. Let's do that. You just got to watch out for this sort of concept and not blunder your rook when you're going for this sort of structure. So bishop comes up, so we'll develop, and we're going to try and challenge the center. It's just how do we do it? We could play knight up first. We could play d4 immediately. We can go e3, then d4. We can go d3 and e4. What do we want to do? Knight up gets our piece developed, threatens to jump in. I think I'm just going to go slow and steady. I'm going to try and just challenge for the center with the pawns and hold the knight back for now so the bishop covers the d4 square. But all options are kind of playable, or there's no real right or wrong answer. So he plays forward, so I will launch the pawn into the center. If he takes, I'll probably go with the pawn, but I could go with the bishop and just keep the pawns intact this way. So again, flexible, you've got options. At some point I need to find a square for the knight. Probably c3, but I've got other options. Okay, he launches a pawn in the center. So what do we want to do here? If I take, he could go with the knight. Say we play knight up. If he takes, we can take back. We might both end up getting isolated pawns. It feels safer than going with taking the outer pawn though. It feels safe, so I'm going to take this one. He's gone with a pawn though, not the knight, so it gives us a chance to take and give him an isolated pawn. Okay, I think I'll try that then. Do I want to do that? I've got knight forward. But if I take here, I'm covering this square, I can get the knight up. I mean, ultimately, you can probably push the pawn, so we'll have to see what he's done, but he's letting us take the knight here. Okay, that's bold, isn't it? He's deliberately going for this structure. Has he seen some tactics that I'm missing? He's played them confidently, hasn't he? He's played them. So am I missing some sort of tactic here? It could be. You can miss anything in any position, but it's so tempting, isn't it? Knight across. If he takes either way, we take with the pawn. We both get isolated pawns, but he gets his king structure broken as well, so I'm going to have to take. I just don't want to blunder some sort of diagonal issue. So I guess we need knight across now, but maybe I want to develop this knight first, but if I do that, I can't then really go in without hanging a pawn. So I've just got to be careful here, some sort of issue. Yeah, it might be better to do this or to do this and just let him push. But if he pushes now, I guess I'd have knight up, right? I'm going to play knight up with a view to coming back on the light square. If he pushes now, I think I've got knight up to hit the queen and pawn and just take. But you've always got to be careful in this sort of setup, allowing some sort of diagonal issue. Not obviously that exact move in that position, but that sort of concept. But I'm looking to jump forward, attack the queen, and then come into the center, or come back and come into the center. That's what I'm trying to do. Just work on these pawns. The king might actually be safer than it looks there once you get across and shuffle the rook. You know, you've got to have the pieces to try and attack the weakness with, and that's not easy to create right now. So he has pushed forward, so can we just go up and take then? Say the queen just drops back. Gain a pawn, lose a knight, gain a knight, lose a knight, gain a pawn. It looks playable, doesn't it? So let's play it. It might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You're going to get some games where you go wrong, but it looks like a common sense move to me. So I'm just going to take with a knight in principle and leave the pawn there and try and get some pieces off the board. Now we knight to target f5 if we can. So he's pushed up. I don't see anything different to just taking. Now he does have rook across, so he might win the pawn. But it still seems logical, good move. We're going to gain a pawn, so we can afford to give a pawn back. And we've still broken his defensive structure up, so that's what he's played for. So there's no trick, is there? Like takes and takes. There's no sort of trick there, so we need to move the queen. So where do we go to? Or we can develop a rook, but I guess queen up makes sense. But there's no real obvious places to go. Say we move takes, 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 and he can take back. I want to go here to cover this square, but it might allow knight down, but then he's not covering here, is he? So then I can come across. So yeah, I think it makes sense here. We cover the bishop coming down, and if knight down, we can go to e2. Otherwise, if he takes, I'm happy to trade and give a pawn back. Excuse me, hope it works out. If the bishop wasn't here, he'd have rook across. That would be a bit annoying. Then I would have gone to e2. But he needs an extra move to develop the bishop. And if he does nothing, I can just take his knight. So I'd expect knight or bishop takes, and we'll just take back, I think. Then takes, takes. He's got queen or rook takes, and maybe rook across at the end, or just get the bishop into play. But if he doesn't take back now, he won't get a chance to take back. I hope, anyway. He does have queen b6 at the end of the line, though. If he does all the trades, say rook d1, he can go back and guard his rook on the back rank. So it should be just a set of trades that he does, and he does it. So do we actually take with the pawn? Is there any difference? The bishop takes rook across. And then the bishop can't retreat and guard the rook. The rook is protected here, but say we go with the pawn, and if he takes rook across, they're all on light squares then, apart from a few pawns. And we're threatening the bishop. Rook takes, knight takes, queen takes, then we're getting active, right? So here, what does he do? I guess he could drop back here. Rook takes, queen takes, but then you take, but it undoubles the pawns. I'm not sure. I'm going to take with a pawn. He has taken back instantly. So I've got rook across to hit the bishop. They're the two obvious moves, but if he goes here, it gives him a chance to blunder. Because takes, takes, and you hang the bishop. So he's got to go here, I think. And then we can just take, take. But would you actually want to take there? That's the question. I'm not sure you would. I'm not sure we would. But we don't want him to have the bishop pair, do we? So it's probably good to take. But I've got the opportunity, rook across. If he goes there, he blunders the game, so he won't do that, or he shouldn't do that. So this is the logical move. So trade, trade. We can then get across, but he can guard his bishop, or we can take, he takes, develop the rook, and try and challenge for the center, but it feels quite balanced. I don't really want to give him that door, so I'm just going to take. Okay, so it's got to be right to develop the rook. He's going to play back to guard his rook. Only really got the one move, so that's what he does. So now we need a useful move. So I'm looking at maybe bishop up. We could trade rook across, but he's going to get his bishop moved eventually. It's whether we just want two rooks or one on the board. Bishop up or bishop up. Let's do the trade and develop, because I'm burning a lot of time. I'm 2 minutes down now. Obviously, but he's covering this square with his bishop, so how do we gain anything here? We could go here, just pressure the pawn, see what he does. Let's do that. Develop the bishop, pressure the pawn, and then try and get the rook on a good square. Maybe rook goes here to come across, actually, because now my king can jump behind here, as long as he doesn't play this. That's a bit annoying, but if I get across in time, putting the rook here could be useful. Depends what he does to defend here. He could push a pawn and trade the bishops and get the bishop off the board. I don't think he will, but he could there while it's doubled up. He actually sacks the pawn. Okay, let's take it then and maybe come here. He might want me to take here to undouble the pawns, but if I've gained a valuable pawn, why not? Why not indeed? So I'm just looking at simply bishop back. I could go where I was, but it would be good to get the bishop off now. We've gained a valuable pawn. Even if it undoubles them, I think it would be good for us. So I'm going to go here and try and get the bishop off before he gets his rook active and he creates a mate threat. With this pawn structure, it's dangerous with him having his bishop, so I'd be happy to trade it. But I'm still a minute down on the clock. Still going to be really, really difficult to try and win a game like this, of course. Okay, it's a shame my rook isn't here, but it isn't. So queen up looks nice. I'm threatening to check. Here, he then can't take. I take the queen. So queen up looks good. So let's just play it without burning too much time. But we're threatening check and take. I mean, or just take immediately. But he can't take my bishop now. So check here. Yeah, I don't see an actual attack. As long as my king can step up without conceding the diagonal, it feels safe. But safe in one of them positions where you're only one move away from disaster. But I'm still threatening. Maybe just takes, try and double the rook up, hit the pawn. Maybe the rook behind immediately, and they'd guard each other. Check. Okay, so he's gone to attack the bishop, logical. So he's threatening to take it again. So I could check. What does he do? He goes back, and I'm not gaining anything, am I? So let's just take then. Very, very difficult to actually create a clear chance, isn't it? Very difficult. What do we do? He'd probably go with the pawn, but he might want the queen off. But if he does the queens, I can check and collect. So I'm pretty sure he'll go with the pawn. And if I queen check, he can just step across. It's whether I can get my rook forward. But here, if he goes here, I can check here. But I don't see the knockout. If I go here, he's just got rook across. But then I could check. I guess he can block there as well. So what about a move like this? And if he comes here, sorry, here. Here, if he comes here, then check. I guess he can still block, can't he? Yeah, how do I get my rook in usefully? I don't see it. I'm going to bring the king up while I try and figure out a move because I'm burning too much time. But if he attacks my queen, I can just run and shift his rook, and I'll try and maybe push the pawn. Okay, I'll push the pawn up. I want to try and get the rook on this sort of 7th rank, but I don't see how right now. Unless I do something like this, but he's obviously got this move. Unless he drops back here. He's gone to the side, so let's push that pawn as well. I've got to watch out for these counter punches. It's very easy to blunder anything, especially when you're down on the clock as we are. But if we get this pawn forward, right now it's covered, we'd be doing not so bad. But now we can check. And can we get the rook across? I'm actually going to bring the rook forward. I'm going to gamble a bit here and try and put pressure on. Make sure they're guarded. I'd like to get the rook off the board, but I don't want to concede some sort of checks. This could easily backfire. That's a bit bold. I guess h5 might be a move. But he just goes here, right? Yeah. Now, if I go here, it walks into nonsense, so that's not pleasant. So I'm going to drop the queen back. Cover this and try and come across. Or across here now. Guard the pawn. Prepare h5. I've still got a lot of time to make up on the clock. We're getting some of it back, but half a minute now, but it was 2 minutes, wasn't it? I'm just looking at a simple threat. Rook over, pressure the pawn. Or rook this way, put it on a protected square. Get forward if the queen wanders off. Oh, the queen has just wandered off. What's he done? So here, check. Well, it's got to be right to check. So if he comes forward, I just check here and it should be over. And if he goes back, I take the pawn, right? Oh, and then if he checks here, he wins my queen. So if he goes here, I'd have to go here. If he's on a dark square, I can take, but otherwise he's threatening to check and win my rook. So he's found the move, so I can maybe grab a pawn. But here blunders the game. So let's grab a pawn. We can throw a check in, or now a back rank checkmate threat. So queen in is actually the mate threat. He can technically block, but it's a mate threat. Like say, just pushes a pawn moving quickly. And I've got my time back now. So he's seen that, but now can I take here? He doesn't have a check, does he? And we just threaten mate all over the place. So let's take. We threaten check and mate. Well, win. It'll win if we get check in. You can technically block, but we can check from the other side. Then that would win a piece. But importantly, he doesn't have a one move check. And we're hitting this pawn as well. We're hitting check threat here. But now we've got that little bit of time on the clock, so try and use it. I think he's got too many squares he has to keep covering. But you still have to find the actual checkmate or the finish. So he's played rook back, so now I check here, right? And if he blocks here, then I check. And if he blocks, I just take the rook. So here, he'll have to step up, check here, and then we just win the rook. So that should win the game, right? So check should win the game. Well, actually, there's a pawn here. But then he can block, so it should be the check here. That should win. If he blocks, I just throw this in. Now, the easy way, if you're not sure, just take the queen, he takes, and take the rook, and you've won. So that's the easier way to play it, because you can't really miscalculate it, can you? And it's just resignable. But if I check here, what can he do? Actually, if he just steps up the king away, then we just take the queen, and it's checkmate. So if we block there, his only other move is to block. We can take here, he takes, and we actually win the queen. So we'll go with a check, but if you're not sure there, you're not calculating, just take the queen. If you weren't sure there, take the queen straight away. You're going to win the rook and you're a clean rook up and it's just an easy win and there's less risk of miscalculating. But we got a good win, so let's pause and see what it was in engine speak. So I have 38 moves, they're the move times for both players. We'll just take a look at that at the end as well, just make sure we're not miscalculating anything, because if we were, that's where you can throw away a good win. But if you're in doubt, just play the most simplest moves that you see. Generally a good principle. If you're in doubt, just go for the most simple, easy concept. But yeah, it was winning here. So it's mate here. So we played a pretty good end of the game at least. So how's it gone? So we've been much better here, than it's come back to level. But at least we've been better all level the whole game. 90 and 84 on the accuracy. You can see we've got some blunders here. So the opening moves we're just trying to get developed and castled. Then the first mistake comes here. Bishop takes c5 is a blunder. And he's given us this chance to break up the structure. So it was correct to take. But knight to b5 I shouldn't have done. I should have actually come in over. Okay, but with queen d6, then I've got knight takes d4, and there's a trick there. Oh, so I take it with the knight, and my bishop guards my knight here, so that's nice. Knight and queen d6 is the right reply, as we can see here. Then you've got knight takes pawn, and you're suddenly guarding this knight, and if you take either way, you just take back with a pawn. So it's more like a fancy way of doing what we kind of were doing, but it's lost us 1.3 points. So that little bit sharper, that's a real nice move to see. And then I took with the wrong knight. Yeah, I should have taken with the other knight. Why that makes a difference, I'm not quite sure, but it does. So now the game is back to essentially level again. After these trades, should have gone with the rook rather than the queen, so that's actually given us a blunder. So rook a cross was good, takes was good, d1 was good, and we've blundered here. We should have played the queen to e4, offering a queen trade rather than the bishop to d4, to e4. So queen e4, queen f8, and then h4 and start marching. That was the right way to play and take the center control. So that's our blunder for the game, and it's essentially back level now. And then opponent here, best move was bishop to g4, attacking the rook. I'm not quite sure what I've done there. Maybe rook across, just keep it safe. But it was good to grab the pawn. Bishop f5 was good, queen e4 was good. Now here, I should have thrown that check in. I was looking at it, but I didn't see the follow-up after king goes back. And the engine is saying play queen h4 because you're creating a mate in one threat. So leave the bishop hanging because you're creating a checkmate threat. The queen has to move to give the king a square, then take on e6. And you can't take back. So it must be check, you step up somewhere, you check. There must be a forced checkmate because you're not winning the queen, it's protected. But you can't take back. So check, step up, check, go back. I don't quite see it myself, but that's what the engine said. That's high level chess for you, isn't it? So that's where we didn't calculate that then. So king to g2 was good, h4 was good. So you see rook d7 is a mistake. I should have played the queen there rather than the rook. But I'm +7 now. +7 and much better now. King up and then rook to g4. So I should have played queen. The king has to step forward. Or I suppose, I guess if the king... Well, if you go here, I check here maybe. Again, it's not easy to calculate when you're just glancing at the board. But takes was good. Then that's a blunder. Takes was good. And it's a forced checkmate now. Yeah, so again, rook was the more precise way to go here. Oh, it says actually I've lost a forced checkmate sequence with the queen in the corner. So it's not a forced checkmate, but it's essentially a forced win. Because I could see the line I was playing. So I missed a forced checkmate, but I could see the line I was playing. So rook a check. And now you had to block with the rook, and then you just simply play rook takes. If the king steps forward, you take the queen. If you take the rook, you take the queen. So that's a technical missed forced checkmate, but I'm not the slightest bit bothered about that. We ended up with a checkmate, but that's just a little bit of engine speak there. It is what it is, but a good game.